Hello, everybody, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Quarantine Chronicles. Please join me on welcoming Reyes Sansegundo from Madri+d. Hello, Reyes.
Hi.
How's everything?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How's everything in Madrid in quarantine? How's day 40, 42?
42, 43. I'm not counting it because it will be horrible to have the days.
Oh,
But
no.
yes, we're still at home until at least 10th of May. And we will see. On Monday, the children can go out for the first time. It's a good step for them.
Mhm.
But now we continue working at home, and I'm very happy. I am really good and trying to take the positive things of this situation.
I'm glad that you've been keeping sane and safe, and hopefully we can go back soon and see each other again.
Yeah.
But before starting the conversation with Reyes, we want to give a quick overview of our relationship with Reyes and Madri+d. As you know, we have a close relationship with all types of stakeholders. Madri+d is a governmental institution. Reyes is going to describe more in detail of what Madri+d is and what they do and a little bit about her profile. But Reyes, she joined us in the last GTP, the Green Transformation Program. Reyes is a very authentic, she has a very authentic personality, and she's pretty functional, and she's an expert in many fields. But she came in and she did an exercise in a workshop for a Green Transformation Program last January. And she talked about a little bit about EU financing and about the different stakeholder engagement in European projects. So it's a pleasure again welcoming Reyes. Before speaking about Reyes' introduction and her role, I'm going to give a brief overview of what we will touch upon today. So first we will talk about Reyes' background and her role at Madri+d. Then we will go deep in what Madri+d does as initiatives and very positive actions. Then we will talk about Reyes' article that she wrote a few days back about is it all that bad, the pandemic itself. Then we will dissect the health sector and the current progress, ups and downs about the world crisis and current pandemic, and again we end with an important message to the audience and the main takeaways. So now again, without further ado, Reyes, if you could tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role at Madri+d and over, you know.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you so much for your beautiful words. The pleasure is mine for being here this afternoon, and well, it's really easy to work with you. It was a pleasure to be in the GTP and to be in contact with the future leaders in this green economy. And well, I am linked to this green world because I have a degree in biology and I have specialized myself in conservation biology and environmental issues. But although I started researching since more than 10 years, I am working in project management. So my role in Madri+d, I must admit that Madri+d, it's a non-profit organization from the Regional Ministry of Madrid, and we depend on the Regional Ministry of Science, Universities, and Innovation. So this is what we do. We support researchers, entrepreneurs, the public sector, also universities in their way to proceed with different issues regarding higher education and R&D&I. Here, I want to focus on the R&D&I pillar because it's the one that is more in touch with all the things that we are going to see today. And in this pillar, we work in 3 items, let's say. We give support to entrepreneurs in Madrid regions when they want to launch their own company. We also communicate what our entrepreneurs and our research sector is doing in the community through our scientific research unit. And me, myself, I am working in the technology transfer and European programs area. This is my expertise. I work to make the ideas of researchers and entrepreneurs international. And how we do it? We do it with three pillars, let's say, in my area. The most important of all is the Enterprise Europe Network. We coordinate in Madrid this network that is a European project, and is the biggest international network to give support to SMEs, hospitals, universities, research centers that wants to scale up and to have a visibility outside their frontiers. We are not only in Europe, we are based in 65 countries, and we are more than 3,000 people working with the same methodology. And we know very close the needs of our clients in this R&D needs that they have. We also work very, very close with the let's say, European framework programs like Horizon 2020 or the future Horizon Europe. And one of our head of area is the national contact point for Maria Sklodowska-Curie area activities that focus on the research in motion. Okay. When researchers want to research outside. And this is more or less like the things that we do at regional, national, and international level in the foundation. All free of charge, of course, because we are non-profit.
Yeah, understood. Well, very interesting information. To get a glimpse of how many people do you know how much accountability how many people do you impact or help out in a yearly basis?
Yes, I cannot give you the exact numbers, but we are, I think, more than 20 universities in only in Madrid region, with all the researchers that they have there. So it's thousands of researchers. We also are very in touch with the IMDEAs. There are 7 specific institutes of the Madrid regions focusing in different topics, in materials, in water, nanoscience, food, and these are only research centers funded by the Community of Madrid, and we support them. There are hundreds of researchers in each one. And for instance, the database that we have of EAN clients of the Enterprise Europe Network, it's more in the region. It could be more than 300. So we are talking about thousands of researchers and hundreds of companies and public institutions that receive direct service from Madri+d.
That's quite impactful, and I think this is a great transition into our next point that I want to touch upon. Madri+d has beautiful initiatives and has very hopeful and reassuring initiatives for this COVID-19. No? If you could tell us a little bit about what Madri+d is doing right now in terms of hackathons and content.
Yeah, well, you can see in the slide, of course, we give our community inside Madrid and outside Madrid via the EEN all this content sharing with our scientific culture unit. And one of the main initiatives that we have put in place in Madrid is the Hackathon Vence al Virus, Defeat the Virus. Okay, this will be the name in English. It took place the 4th and 5th of April. It was completely online, as you imagine. And it has been huge because it's an initiative of the regional government, and they have trust in us in the foundation to manage all the program. So we have more than 8,000 registrations of individuals that want to provide their vision. It could be entrepreneurs, researchers, students, citizens, whoever that wants to participate. Yeah, so we have 8,000 people registered. From these people, we have evaluate the joint projects that they have present to deal with different challenges. Let's say it was a challenge of health, just focus on how to fight the infection.
Mm-hmm.
It was another challenge of community, more focus in the well-being of people, and another challenge of projects focus on jobs and employment after this crisis. We have selected more than 200 projects in second stage after the evaluation, and 100 were in the final round, and the winners has been 20 projects. Now these 20 projects are starting their client journey with us. We are providing them in the foundation a specific, a customized plan to each project, just to reach in 6 months, more or less, to make true the idea that they have included in the hackathon.
To make it tangible and to make it happen.
Yeah, because some projects are not concrete, are just ideas.
Okay, and these 20 projects that were selected, they are all over the spectrum, no?
The interesting thing of this is that we have various teams. There are some projects that are that comes from universities, from a research group of universities, and this is much more easy to assess. But there are other innovative projects that joins people from big companies, researchers, students. So we need to see which is the best formula for them to reach their objectives. If they have to create a spin-off, if they have to make a research, a joint research unit, we have to study this, and this is the challenge, because those projects that are very technical, some of them based in artificial intelligence or in biochemistry, but there are other projects very social that are more less intuitive, let's say.
Okay.
And this is the challenge, because, for instance, there is one project that it's very typical outside Spain, this kind of project, but in Spain it's not, it's completely new. So we have to think how to make it come true.
Yeah, true. Well, like you said, it's quite a challenge to dissect or choose, or like the best ones are more viable and can impact the most people, no?
I must admit that we have hired external experts. This project has been evaluated by external experts in the different fields of the hackathon, and we are managing the decision of the experts. Wow. So it's a very truthful selection. But also the beautiful thing is that we have been able to put in one project so different profiles, from students to CEOs. And this is the real challenge.
Wow. Well, that's a great initiative, and congratulations for doing that, and applauses from I guess all the people that are tuning in right now. Many people that are tuning in from all over the world. I know that Madri+d has, let's say, a pipeline of countries that you work with. If you could just talk about a little bit of how they can collaborate with you, or how they can get access or get expertise or insight from you guys.
Well, one of our main activities in the EN or in my area is to build these connections, this marketplace between offer and demand all over the world, okay? And the way that we do it usually is in events. Now we cannot be together in events, so we have decided turn this scheme into a completely virtual platform. Regarding the coronavirus, the health experts from the Enterprise Europe Network have joined forces, and we have built a specific marketplace for care and industry that wants to fight this coronavirus. And now we have more than 500 registration with more than 700 specific offers of cooperation services, offers of solutions that you can have from face mask to software that you may need to control your patients. All these kind of things are in this international platform. It has been huge effort that we are co-organizing from Madrid in Madri+d. I am the person in charge of this initiative, and we are, I think, by now more than 25 countries.
Okay.
So it's
mostly European or all over the world?
Mostly European, but we also have Chile, we have Argentina, we have Taiwan, we have China. The rest are European, but we are spreading the word among other nodes of the EN that we have outside Europe, and they are joining us. So
okay. Hopefully you can get Mexico. I know there's a lot of
hopefully. I would like so. Yeah, I would like, and it's working very well because you can have the meetings online. Awesome. So when you have your profile validated, you can just start making meetings in the platform.
Awesome. Well, another very interesting activity or initiative by Madri+d. Now, transitioning from Madri+d to yourself, you seem to have a very fully functional profile, and you have energy for everything. I know that you wrote this personal article about the pandemic, coronavirus, and to analyze, is it all that bad? If you can just tell us a little bit about your thoughts and what you see in this article. No?
Yeah, well, let's say that I work in Madri+d, but it seems that I am a little bit crazy, and I like to be all the time things. And I have also a personal project of strategy consultancy in which I like to write this kind of articles. And now during the crisis, it was like a moment to think about what we are doing. I was very tired the first 2 weeks of having bad news, the people very sad, that everything was horrible, and that's true. It's horrible. This is a situation that we have not faced before. Thousands of deaths, and those deaths affects to the elderly people. That is really sad. And it's true, I'm not denying that, but there's always positive things among this situation, and these are the things that I wanted to highlight in this article. There is it all that bad? Because for me the important thing is now we are not in an economic crisis. We are facing a public health crisis that is completely different as the challenge that we have faced until now. I have called it's my invention, the Matryoshka crisis. It's like these dolls that you have one big doll, but suddenly if you open it, you see another doll. And this is what we are seeing, that the COVID arrived, it's horrible, and suddenly we see that we had a huge environmental crisis. Suddenly people notice that, okay. We have economic crisis that from 2008 we have not recovered so much. We have also crisis in our values, in the way that we interact with people, that we consume. And this is the things that I want to show in the article, that focusing mainly in the environmental side. because for me it's the main positive effect of this crisis, that in the first week of being at home, nature is gaining its space again.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt, having this, let's say, respiratory crisis, it definitely crosses our mind that have been done some, we have been behaving in the wrong manners, and I think these types of articles are very beneficial for the audience and public to pick their brains and kind of play with touch upon different points of view, as you said, no, as not only economic crisis but health crisis, and this can be a call to action or a changing point to doing things in a better way. No?
I really think so.
I definitely agree that this is a crisis itself, and we all identified ourselves in different stages. First, it was denial. Now this is just a flu, and then there's countries that seem to be behaving worse. In our case, it was Italy just next door, and then when it hits Spain, that's when it hits yourself, no? And people being close, or a relative or a friend that knows somebody that got infected, and with the fear that okay, this the linear model or the model that we were living in was not sustainable, so we definitely have to change.
Yeah,
So
this is
thank you for writing that, and we encourage everybody to look at Ray's article and give their
yes,
point
of
of view.
course, wherever you want. It's really interesting to see the data, because for me, data are very difficult to discuss. You can discuss them, but if you have emissions data that they are lowering at a very fast way, and that you have China with the best, with the most longer, the longest period of quality of best quality of air, if you have um, if you look through the window and you see that everything is greener, that you can listen to the birds, that something's changing, we have to take profit of that and think different. Now we are not going to come back to the same world that we had
Yeah,
before the coronavirus. So I think it's good to see in those horrible moments the opportunities.
true. Completely agree. And continuing with this positive flow of optimism, uh, I know your sector is that you work in is the health. Well, you focus on the health sector within Madri+d. The current progress is being done that is close to you. You can talk a little bit more about this too.
Yes, well, now it's difficult to say something definitely, but it's true that it has been a lot of movement. Researchers have just joined forces, and they are um, trying to define the characteristic of this virus, because today here in Spain we could read that they have already discovered how the virus entered in Spain, and it was by 15 different channels. So now we are starting to understand the beginning of the pandemic. So it's true that there are countries like UK or Germany, or of course China, they are now testing prototypes of vaccines, and that could be available by the end of the year or the beginning of 2021.
Mhm.
But we need first of all to have reliable data, and now we have not this data very with a solid background, because there are not enough diagnosis tests. The governments, um, let's say, play sometimes with those data, and and we are now in the first stage already. We are not in the end. We are discovering how it is working. And it is very, very important to have in mind that these studies and these decisions are always science-based. And this is something that at least in Europe, in the European Commission, they are taking so carefully. Always be in line with what researchers say, and in line with the capacity of the national healthcare services, because the main issue here is that suddenly you have a lot of people that you don't know what they have, and they collapse the hospital. So this cannot happen again. And it's true that we are in a good point. Also in Spain, we have a very important research group working in a future vaccine, but it's not going to be in the short time. So this is something that we have to keep in mind and to put in practice the measures to avoid being infected.
Yeah, completely. Let's say that this is a bittersweet feeling that there's advancements, but at the same time we have to be patient and set priorities. Know that understand the importance of, like you said, the researchers, the data, the government inclusion, or the decisions that are being taken, because if we just set everything as essential, we can collapse the system as it is now.
And I want to say something positive, that usually these steps to get a new medicine or a vaccine takes years.
Yeah.
Now we are trying to have it in months.
Yeah.
We are running so fast, and our researchers are working so hard. So let's trust, but in the meanwhile, we have to be conscious and to keep and to respect the directions that they are giving to us.
Be patient, and that we, at the end of the day, we're running against the clock. But like you said, this could take years, and we have the whole world fighting, no? And we're all in the same team. But this conversation is about not all positive, not all negative, ups and downs. This is a world crisis. In 1918, I know you were not alive, but the Spanish flu, or the Spanish influenza, it was very present in this country, and I'm guessing that within your studies in elementary school, they touched upon this of how it affected not only Spain but Europe and the world. Yeah. And I wanted to see, well, the ups and downs of this pandemic. No, we have this data from today, and you could share your point of view.
Well, as I mentioned before, I think at the beginning of our talk, this is something new in our modern era. Okay, it's true that in 1918 we have the influenza that killed 50 million people. That it's incredible. We are not in this direction, fortunately. But these things happen, and we have to keep in mind that all these measures that people are taking, of being at home, the quarantine, to avoid contact, are crucial to control the reinfection that it's going to be in autumn. Because if you listen to scientific research, or what they are saying in the scientific forums, this is the beginning. And there is a vision that in October, November, we will have a situation very similar like the one we have now. So if we want to avoid to reach these numbers that are very high in a modern society, we need to be aware of what we are doing, and to respect the things that scientific tell us and our government is telling to us, because it's not about ourselves, it's about the rest. You can be very well, you can have a very strong health, but be infected and be asymptomatic.
Yeah.
And you reach with someone, and we will have these ups and downs. And if we open, for instance, when we start traveling again, you and I, we are people that we are traveling every month from to Europe, in Spain, outside Europe.
Yeah.
This is a high risk to this kind of cycles,
Yeah.
because it's going to be a cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that we universally we have to come up with something together, because we have uh, Europe, let's say, behaving in a more uniform basis, but then we have countries that want to revamp the economy, and then countries that are developing, and then have a population that lives more on a day-to-day basis or has an informal economy, and it's not as easy to distribute help or stipends, or so. At the end of the day, everybody's trying to do their best as possible, but acting in a very different point of view, no?
I think this is the problem, that is a global crisis, but it's not affecting the same way to all countries. But more or less, as you can see in the picture, it's worldwide. And sometimes the countries that has not suffered this huge impact of the coronavirus has to help to um, to reach a common strategy.
Yeah, we're all fighting the same virus at the end of the day.
Yeah, and this is how I see it, and it's going to be complicated because we have different mindsets, but this is the challenge too.
Yeah, completely agree. Completely agree. Well, we move into the last point. We like to end with the expertise and the knowledge that you have and your years of experience. If you could, the last messages that you would like to give to the audience, and the best takeaways that we can learn from you know.
Well, I have just prepared 5 that I think that are the most important in this topic that we have we have been talking. And first of all, it's because of my background, but please follow the recommendations that are science-based. We will go back to a normal life soon, but we need to follow the recommendations that are based in science, okay? And that leads me to the second recommendation, that are fake news. We have to follow the official channels. Now it's our law enforcement bodies here in Spain, they are fighting so hard against this fake news because they are not good. They do not let you see the reality. So just be critic with the information that you are receiving in this during this crisis. The third point is relating climate change. I think we have now a good opportunity to change things for good at a personal level, because with individual actions we can foster a good cooperation with nature. Now we have been understanding nature as our servant, and it's not our servant, it's our main partner. We have unlimited let's say needs, but the planet has limited resources. So now it's time to do things good, because this crisis is affecting for good all the climate and nature issues. So this is something to think about. The fourth, it will be to follow the measures when we go outside. We have to be responsible. We have to follow the measures of accompanying this end of the quarantine. We cannot go back to our normal life from one day to another. So again, we have to be responsible. And the last one, and following with my positiveness that I'm having during this quarantine, it's like that. Take this as an opportunity for you to grow as professional, to grow personally, to spend time with your family or alone, to enrich your life with different issues that you have forgotten, and then now you can they can arise in your life. So this is important for me, and these were the 5 key messages that I want to leave you today.
Thank you, Reyes. Very inspiring, without a doubt. Very impactful. That you can live this pandemic with a very positive note. That we're living in a crisis, but there's many positive aspects that we could take out from it. And I think that the one that I like the most, at least, is that we can definitely have a new relationship with Mother Earth. No, we just had Earth Day a few days ago,
Yeah.
and like you said, this impacts all different types of industries, businesses, individuals, countries, and we have a global problem, and we have to fight it as one. And well, thank you for joining today again. Thank you for enlightening us with your vision and words of wisdom. Next episode, we have Marco Garces tuning in from Brazil. We have a slight change. It's not going to be on Wednesday. It's going to be on Thursday, and we will send all the details of the times. But more than welcome to join, and thank you again for coming in with us in this Quarantine Chronicles. And again, thank you to Reyes for joining, and see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Ciao. Bye bye.
Okay, well, thank you for your attention in this conversation with Reyes. Now I'm going to try to answer in behalf of Reyes most of the questions that you guys asked in the chat. Starting with Blanca Cortez, do you have any international collaboration regarding environmental projects? Well, Madri+d is a fundación that has focuses on contributing superior education with regional, national, European, and international projects. They evaluate and validate scientific technology programs all over the world. So I encourage you to look at their website and look at all the projects that they are involved in. Quite interesting. They also focus on European financing. Kenya Jimenez, what type of projects are generated from the COVID hackathons that Madrid organized? Well, the main objective of this hackathon had the name of Vence el Virus, which translates to beat the virus. It involved, like Reyes said, universities, researchers, innovators from recent graduates to CEOs. And the main reason was to generate answers in COVID's main challenges. No, she said that the 20 selected projects uh, were still secret or confidential, but they answered the problems of health, community, and employment, which they identified as the three main challenges. And Hector Leiva, among the fundamental challenges presented in the hackathon, community health, employment, and business, what is your opinion on how they will be affected after the crisis? Well, I think I've repeated my my opinion on these points in the last episodes, but I really agree with Reyes, no, what she was stating. With health, I think we should definitely follow the critical channels, the official channels that are the medical ones. We can't just start believing anything that everybody says in the WhatsApp groups, the typical aunts that just forward all the fake news. And we have to be quite responsible and follow the measures post post quarantine. No? In terms of community, I think also, like Reyes says, this is a great opportunity to change these things around for good and foster our relationship with our close ones and with nature. And in the business or employment point, in the last one, I think that how she ends this conversation is very inspiring. This is a great opportunity also for us individuals to find our professional selves or the persons for the people that we are, and find out or reinvent what we're good at. No, this is going to be a tough crisis that's going to be ahead of us, but when times are tough, there's a lot of opportunities to open to. Well, like I said earlier in the conversation, next episode we have Marco Garces from Itaú Bank tuning in all the way from Brazil. Most probably this will be a live session, so we are gonna have to modify the hour and most probably the date. It's gonna be on Thursday. We're gonna give more information on the times soon. And again, thank you for tuning in like every Monday and Wednesday, and we look forward to having you in the next episode of the Quarantine Chronicles. If you have any doubts, questions, you're more than free to send us a message. I can put the personal email here on the chat. And again, thank you for joining. Have a great rest of the day and week. Ciao, ciao.